The interesting thing, I was talking with Sue and she gave me an idea, but if you remember, some of you weren't here, but my phone rang.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to talk about the person who called me. Some of you know that my wife, for 10 years, had Alzheimer's. And that's why we moved, because we wanted to be here near family. But this is about in St. Louis, and we had a close neighborhood, and everybody was good to my wife, and particularly Lynn and Laura next door were their kids. And at one time they were preschoolers, and they would come over after they came home from daycare and both their parents worked and knock on the door and, "Is Auntie Jay there?" "Yeah." "You here for milk and cookies again?" And they said, "Sure, she invited us in all the time." I said, "Well, come on in. I bet she's waiting for you." And this went on, and we enjoyed Lynn and Laura. And then it became a time when my wife needed to rest in the afternoon. And so Laura particularly was at the age where whatever you said, she would say this: "Why?" And so they knocked on the door. "Can we have cookies?" "Well, Aunt Jay is asleep. You'll have to come back." "Well, why?" "Well, she isn't feeling too well." "Why?" "Well, she is sick today." "Well, why?" I could never satisfy it. And it would happen the next day and the next day. The woman who called me is a preschool expert. And this was from St. Louis. And one day I said, "Pat," and I told her what was happening. She said, "There's an easy way to solve it." And so they came the next day, and I used what she told me. "Ready for cookies," they said. And I said, "Aunt Jay is asleep, and we can't have any noise." "Well, why?" "Well, why do you want to know?" "We'll see you now tomorrow." One of the wonderful things that happened is we had a memorial service for my wife here in Greenfield. And then a month later, my people that I knew in St. Louis, we want to have a memorial service for her too. One of those girls was there, Lynn, came up with tears in her eyes. We remember Aunt Jay, so thank you for having a memorial service here.